Battlefield 6 just released with the new and improved Battlefield Portal, a custom map and mode editor available to everyone, letting them make some downright incredible stuff, even if it is only been a week since players have been able to get their hands on it. However, even with the game's built-in search function, good maps can still be a bit of trouble to find. But don't worry, because we here at Game Rant have sifted through the sand and found a few diamonds in the rough that you should try out next. Starting us off, we've got a parkour map based on the go as high as you can by any means necessary type genre, simply titled Only Up. See, you start on the ground and slowly climb your way up to the top over what I'm pretty sure is just about every prop in the game just vomited into the sky. And while Battlefield isn't necessarily known for its parkour or anything, the jankiness of some of its vault and mantle animations actually make it pretty challenging and requires a bit of creative thinking at times. The map also does a decent job of mixing things up, with maze sections and even some bits where you drive on an ATV. There are no checkpoints unless you count the helicopters down below though, so best be careful, especially when you start getting close to the end there. It's not exactly a map that you'll find yourself playing over and over again or anything like that, but it is a nice change of pace and a good 15 minutes or so of fun. And in a similar vein, we have Vertigo, another parkour-based map, but with a more combat-focused twist, where multiple teams start at the base of a massive course of props that eventually all lead to a single point at the top that you need to capture in order to win. But not only is PvP turned on here, it's actually actively encouraged, with massive firefights breaking out as more and more teams get to the top to fight over the point, adding a bit of chaos to the traditional parkour idea. Now, if you're anything like me and feel bad about grabbing the jet in public matches because you know you're just awful at it, but still need a safe place to actually learn how to fly the thing, then Ace Pursuit is the mode for you. The map starts actually with a custom vehicle selector before letting you take to the skies and work your way through checkpoints. Now again, for me, this map was all about getting a feel for the controls, but even for those more experienced, then it takes on its actual intended purpose of being a course to run and try to beat your friends' times on. Okay, so let's start getting into some more traditional custom maps here, starting with the fan-made remake of Shipment from the Call of Duty franchise, because what's a custom map creator without a shipment? Now, there are a handful of these maps floating around, but you can use the code YHAR for the base map that we'll be showing here, and if you just type Shipment into the search, you'll find a bunch of different modes using the map with different modifiers on it, like adding bots, faster health regen, and removing gadgets if you're a Call of Duty refugee just looking to basically play COD for a minute. And you know what? Sticking with COD remakes here, Project Osiris is actually a really impressive take on the COD Zombies formula. You spawn in with a pistol and have to face off against waves of enemies coming at you melee only, or in other words, they're quote zombies. Although don't let that fool you, they're actually really dangerous and can overtake you super easily if you're not careful. But what I find the most impressive about this mode is that it has a working point system that you can spend on buyable doors, the mystery box, wall weapons, and even pack-a-punch if you survive that long. And if this is the type of stuff that we're working with only a week after release, I'm honestly pretty pumped to see what the community can do building off of base concepts like this. And actually, speaking of really cool bases, next up we have Space Invaders. Now, this one is a bit more of a proof of concept and not super functional quite yet, but I did want to include it just to spotlight how creative the community is already getting. Because that's right, what you're seeing right now is a functional arcade cabinet in Battlefield, letting you play Space Invaders. Now again, it is mostly a proof of concept at this stage, without enemies shooting back or anything like that, but it just goes to show how robust these Portal tools can be in the right hands. Then there's the always classic gun game. Now if you haven't played one of these types of modes before, the premise is simple. You start with a pistol, and for every kill that you get, you move up one tier to a more powerful weapon, and the first one to cycle through the entire ladder of guns wins. One small difference here, though, is that instead of one kill with each gun, you actually need to get two, which personally, I actually kind of like, as someone who's still learning a lot of the guns in this game, and it's a nice chill warm-up mode to play against bots to get you zoned in and ready for actual matches. But then, we already talked about Shipment a bit earlier, but how's about another Call of Duty map remade by the Battlefield community? This time, arguably the second most iconic Infinity Ward map of all time, Rust. Although this time, instead of a perfect 1-to-1 match, the creator opted to do more of a reimagining for this map to fit within Battlefield's obviously much larger scale. That said though, it is still super hectic, and the majority of the map does remain the same, just with the iconic tower in the middle built up to be a much larger point of interest. It is clearly still the power position though, if you're able to make it to the top. And of course, it is Rust, so you know I had to give the old 360 quickscope a try. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Then we've got Besieged, a 4-player PvE mode that's similar to that zombies game type, but it's more of an arcadey survival type vibe, where the AI soldiers have actual weapons this time, and surprisingly, they actually also have different enemy types, like bombers and these little snake guys that quickly crawl up to you to catch you off guard. In between rounds, there's also a buy period too, where you can spend your points on new gear and weapons in its own custom menu, which I think is pretty cool. Now, earlier we talked about a map built to help you fly jets, but now here's a similar one, but for just about everything in this game. It's decently bare bones, but this map gives you just about every vehicle in a big sandbox to play around in, including more jets actually, if you'd like to take things up a notch. And of course, helicopters, which I'm starting to think just aren't for me. Once you get better acquainted with driving, you may also want to try your hand at Riley's Raceway, a floating racetrack in the sky that's part race, part parkour. Now, some of the jumps and moves may make you pull your hair out on your 5th or 50th attempt, but it's just so satisfying once you do figure out the correct path. That said, it does seem to highlight just how janky and vomit-inducing the ATV's camera can be when going up a steep ramp or free-falling, so just be warned if you're prone to motion sickness. And lastly, we have Exfil, a mode that actually kind of combines a lot of the different elements that we've seen in the previous maps. Your squad goes up against 3 other squads, plus AI in a mad dash to grab the objective and exfil with it. It's complete and utter chaos in the best possible way, and the alterations to the base Cairo map completely transforms its flow, as now you can only fight atop the rooftops with newly added bridges and crates to parkour across in your quest to grab the goods and exfil. Once again, showing off what's likely to just be the tip of the iceberg of what Battlefield 6's Portal can offer. But that'll actually about do it for us today. Play any other Portal maps that deserve to be featured here? Let us know down below. And for more like this, be sure to check out GameRant.com.